Hi, my name is Jeff Hanna. A couple of years ago, I was contacted by an executive at a healthcare system where I worked and asked if I would be willing to do some coaching with one of his directors. The director, a fellow named Rob, was having difficulty meeting deadlines and submitting subpar work, and the executive wanted to see if we could maybe help his organization skills. Now, I knew Rob very well. He had attended leadership training that I had delivered. I had done some team building sessions for a couple of his departments, so I was eager to work with him. To Rob's credit, he recognized that he needed some help with his organization. For the next several weeks, we worked on cleaning up his physical workspace. We worked on organizing his files, both electronic and paper, and the paper files converting to electronic where possible, and then finally straightening out his calendar. After about 6 weeks, Rob felt great, and he felt the improvements. And in fact, he was getting some great feedback not only from his boss, but also positive feedback from his peers. So it felt like a win, and Rob should have and did feel very proud of himself. He and I decided that we are going to continue working on our coaching relationship. And so we continued to meet every 2 or 3 weeks, talking about what was urgent, what was important, the things that Rob was working on. And one morning, Rob came in, and he was hot. He was angry. And I said, "Rob, what's going on?" And he said one of his managers had had a conversation with another department earlier in the day that had not gone well. And Rob was worried about the relationship between those two departments. So Rob said, "Jeff, I think I'm going to have a disciplinary conversation." And I thought, well, maybe this is an opportunity. So I asked Rob to take out a blank sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. And I said, "Rob, on the left-hand side, write down all the things that manager does well as a communicator." And Rob started writing, started listing things. And my always favorite question is, what else? What else, Rob? And then after a while, he had a pretty decent list on the left-hand side. So we said, well, let's look at the right-hand side. What are some things that the manager does not so effectively as a communicator? And of course, there were a couple things that immediately came to mind, and then Rob wrote those down. But then he continued to write other things. After several minutes, we looked at both sides of the list. The left-hand side, the effective communication side, was longer than the ineffective communication. And I asked Rob, well, take a look at that, and what do you think? And he said, "I think I need to have a coaching conversation, not a disciplinary conversation." So we spent the next several minutes kind of mapping out what that coaching conversation would look like. And when I left that session, I felt pretty darn good about my coaching skills. Well, about a week later, Rob and I were scheduled to meet again. And he was late. I'm not sure what the problem was, but his boss, the executive that had contacted me, walked through the door and had an odd look on his face. I'm Jeff Hanna. Thank you.